Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Naresh Mago, and with me is Prashant Kumar Sinha with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Modi says RoPax service between Hazira and Ghoga is the next generation transport for the people of Gujarat. Says government's aim is to make such ecosystem where movement of cargo is seamless. Prime Minister announces the change of name of Shipping Ministry to Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways. Joe Biden to be the next US President, and Kamala Harris becomes first woman in American history to be elected as Vice President. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 92.49%. Air quality in Delhi NCR worsens and continues to remain in severe category. And in IPL cricket, Sunrisers, Hyderabad and Delhi Capitals to clash in the second qualifier this evening. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these three simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. Now the news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today virtually inaugurated the RoPax terminal at Hazira and flagged off the RoPax service between Hazira and Ghoga in Gujarat. It marks a big step towards the Prime Minister's vision of harnessing waterways and integrating them with the economic development of the country. The Prime Minister also interacted with the local users of the service during the event. Speaking on the occasion, Prime Minister Modi termed the service as the next generation transport and infrastructure for the people of Gujarat. Mr. Modi said, with the introduction of the RoPax service between Ghoga and Hazira today, the dreams of people of Saurashtra and South Gujarat have been fulfilled and their long wait has ended.
इस सेवा से गोगा और हजीरा के बीच अभी जो सड़क की दूरी 450 किलोमीटर की है, वो समंदर के रास्ते सिर्फ 90 किलोमीटर रह जाएगी। यानी जिस दूरी को कवर करने में 10 से 12 घंटे का समय लगता था, अब उस सफर में सिर्फ 3-4 घंटे ही लगा करेंगे। ये समय तो बचाएगा ही, आपका खर्च भी कम होगा। इसके अलावा सड़क से जो ट्रैफिक कम होगा, वो प्रदूषण कम करने में भी मदद करेगा।
The Prime Minister said it has taken a lot of labor to develop facilities like the RoPax ferry service in Gujarat, as many difficulties came in the way. He thanked people associated with it, including the engineers and workers with whose efforts the facility has been developed. He said that it will improve the ease of living and boost economic prosperity in the region. Prime Minister Modi also interacted with the people who will be benefited by the service. Mr. Modi said, the coastal belt of Gujarat is becoming the gateway to prosperity. He said today maritime business-related infrastructure and capacity building in Gujarat is going on in full swing. He said efforts are on to strengthen the blue economy of the country.
बीते वर्षों में देश में ब्लू इकोनॉमी को सशक्त करने के लिए भी गंभीर प्रयास किए गए हैं। चाहे आधुनिक ट्रॉलर्स के लिए मछुआरों को आर्थिक मदद हो, या फिर मौसम और समुद्री रास्तों की सही जानकारी देने वाली नेविगेशन सिस्टम हो, मछुआरों की सुरक्षा और समृद्धि ये हमारी प्राथमिकता है। हाल में मछली से जुड़े व्यापार को बढ़ावा देने के लिए प्रधानमंत्री मत्स्य संपदा योजना भी शुरू की गई है। इसके तहत आने वाले वर्षों में फिशरीज से जुड़े इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पर 20,000 करोड़ रुपए खर्च किए जाएंगे।
The Prime Minister said, Gujarat Maritime Cluster, Gujarat Maritime University, world's first CNG terminal at Bhavnagar, and many such facilities are getting ready in Gujarat. He said the government is making efforts to restart the ferry service between Ghoga and Dahej soon. He said many challenges related to nature have come in front of the project and efforts are being made to remove them through modern technology. The Prime Minister said the government is changing the name of Ministry of Shipping and it will be known as Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways. Mr. Modi said that to reduce the expenditure on logistics, India is fast developing multimodal connectivity. He said that the government is trying to interconnect the infrastructure related to road, rail, air and shipping and removing the silos in this process. He said that we are still spending more money on transportation in comparison to the other nations and the cost of logistics can be reduced through water transport. Mr. Modi said that the government is focusing on developing an ecosystem which helps seamless movement for cargo. He said that to create the experts for marine trade and business and trained manpower, the Gujarat Maritime University is the big center.
समुद्री व्यापार कारोबार के लिए एक्सपर्ट तैयार हो, एक ट्रेन मैन पावर हो, इसके लिए गुजरात में मैरीटाइम यूनिवर्सिटी बहुत बड़ा सेंटर है। इस सेक्टर से जुड़ी आवश्यकताओं के लिए प्रोफेशनल एजुकेशन देने वाला ये देश का पहला संस्थान है। यूनिवर्सिटी के अलावा लोथल में देश की समुद्री विरासत को संजोने वाला पहला नेशनल म्यूजियम बनाने की दिशा में भी काम चल रहा है।
Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani and Union Minister of State for Shipping Mansukh Mandavia also joined the event. Hazira Ghoga Ro-Pax ferry service will work as a gateway to South Gujarat and Saurashtra region.
सौराष्ट्र की ये कनेक्टिविटी इस क्षेत्र के जीवन को बदलने वाली है। अब सौराष्ट्र के किसानों और पशुपालकों को फल, सब्जी और दूध सूरत पहुंचाने में ज्यादा आसानी होगी। सड़क के रास्ते पहले फल, सब्जी, दूध जैसी चीजें इतना लंबा समय होने के कारण और ट्रक के अंदर उठापटक रहती हैं, तो काफी कुछ नुकसान भी होता है। खास करके सब्जी को, फलों को काफी नुकसान होता है। ये सब बंद हो जाएगा। अब समंदर के रास्ते पशुपालकों और किसानों के उत्पाद और तेजी से, ज्यादा सुरक्षित तरीके से बाजार तक पहुंच पाएंगे। इसी तरह सूरत में व्यापार कारोबार करने वाले साथियों और श्रमिक साथियों के लिए भी आना जाना और ट्रांसपोर्टेशन बहुत आसान और सस्ता हो जाएगा।
The reduced cargo travel time will result in huge savings of fuel, approximately 9,000 liters per day, and will lead to a reduction in carbon dioxide emissions by approximately 24 million tons per day. The ferry service, while making 3 round trips per day on the Hazira-Ghoga route, would annually transport about 5 lakh passengers, 80,000 passenger vehicles, 50,000 two-wheelers and 30,000 trucks.
Democrat Joe Biden beat Republican Donald Trump to become the 46th president of the United States in a very closely fought presidential election which witnessed many cliffhanger episodes. Biden clinched the race by securing 279 electoral votes. The winning moment was decided when the Democrats made a stamping lead in the state of Pennsylvania, sealing their victory in one of the most crucial swing states. More from our correspondent.
In the 538-member Electoral College in the United States, the candidate needs to secure at least 270 electoral votes to be declared as the president-elect. Mr. Biden, who will be the oldest American president to assume office at the age of 78, received nearly 70.45 million popular votes in the presidential elections, which is also the highest number of votes received by any U.S. presidential candidate so far in the history of American elections. The Republican presidential nominee, Donald Trump, has secured 214 electoral votes so far with nearly 70.03 million popular votes. The counting is still underway in few states like Arizona, Georgia and North Carolina. The Democrats have so far been able to flip Wisconsin, Michigan and Pennsylvania compared to the 2016 elections. They have also maintained their lead in the states of Arizona and Georgia. Anand Chaturvedi, Delhi.
Joe Biden thanked his supporters for voting for him. In his address, Biden said he does not see red states and blue states, but only the United States.
I believe it's this. America has called upon us to marshal the forces of decency, the forces of fairness, to marshal the forces of science and the forces of hope in the great battles of our time. The battle to control the virus, the battle to build prosperity, the battle to secure your family's health care, the battle to achieve racial justice and root out systemic racism in this country.
With the declaration of Joe Biden as the president-elect based on the projections of the electoral votes, Democratic Party candidate Kamala Harris, who has also secured her position as the first woman vice president of the USA, thanked supporters and said Americans chose hope, decency, science, and truth.
I will strive to be a vice president like Joe was to President Obama, loyal, honest, and prepared, waking up every day thinking of you and your family. Because now is when the real work begins. The hard work, the necessary work, the good work, the essential work to save lives and beat this epidemic, to rebuild our economy.
President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi have congratulated Joe Biden on his election as U.S. President and Kamala Harris as Vice President. The President, through a tweet, wished Mr. Biden a successful tenure and said he is looking forward to work with him to further strengthen India-U.S. relations. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu said in a tweet he is confident that Indo-American relations will become much stronger in the coming years as both the nations with shared democratic values strive to make the world more peaceful and prosperous. Prime Minister Modi said as the U.S. Vice President, Mr. Biden's contribution to strengthening Indo-U.S. relations was critical and invaluable. He said he is looking forward to work closely together once again to take India-U.S. relations to greater heights. Congratulating U.S. Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, Mr. Modi said her success is path-breaking and a matter of immense pride not just for her chittis but also for all Indian Americans.
India's Vidisha Maitra was elected to UN Body Advisory Committee on Administrative and Budgetary Questions, ACABQ, with strong support of the member states. India's permanent representative to the UN, Ambassador T.S. Trimurti, expressed gratitude to the member states for reposing faith in India's candidate. I would like to repeat that. India's permanent representative to the UN, Ambassador T.S. Tirumurti, expressed gratitude to the member states for reposing faith in India's candidate. The 8th round of India-China Corps Commander-level meeting was held in Chushul on Friday. The two sides had a candid, in-depth and constructive exchange of views on disengagement along the line of actual control in the western sector of India-China border areas. The Defense Ministry said both sides agreed to earnestly implement the important consensus reached by the leaders of the two countries, ensure their frontline troops exercise restraint, and avoid misunderstanding and miscalculation.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Modi says Ro-Pax service between Hasira and Khokha is the next generation transport for the people of Gujarat. Says government's aim is to make such ecosystem where movement of cargo is seamless. Prime Minister announces the change of name of Shipping Ministry to Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways. Joe Biden to be the next U.S. President and Kamala Harris becomes first woman in American history to be elected as Vice President. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 92.49%. Air quality in Delhi NCR worsens and continues to remain in the severe category. And in IPL cricket, Sunrisers Hyderabad and Delhi Capitals to clash in the second qualifier this evening. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alert.
The country's COVID-19 recovery rate has improved to 92.49%. The Health Ministry said in the last 24 hours, more than 49,000 COVID patients have recovered. The total number of recoveries has gone up to over 78,68,000. The actual caseload currently comprises only 6.03% of the total positive cases. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is around 5,12,000. During the past 24 hours, 45,674 new cases are reported, taking the total number of positive cases in the country to over 85 lakh. India's case fatality rate is at 1.48%, which is one of the lowest globally. In the last 24 hours, 559 deaths were reported, taking the toll to 1,26,121. According to Indian Council of Medical Research, more than 11,94,000 tests were conducted in the last 24 hours. The total number of samples tested so far has reached 11 crore 77 lakh. The Telangana state has crossed the 2.5 lakh mark in COVID cases as 1,440 new cases were reported in the past 24 hours. Total COVID cases reported in the state has now gone up to 2,50,331. The recovery rate is at 91.5%, with 1,481 more people recovering yesterday. This has taken the number of recovered people so far in the state to 2,29,064. Meanwhile, the daily bulletin issued by the State Medical and Health Department this morning stated that the total deaths rose to 1,377, following 5 more people succumbing in the past 24 hours. Currently, the state has about 20,000 active cases, out of which over 17,000 are in home isolation.
The Andhra Pradesh government has increased the number of COVID tests in an effort to reduce the fatality rate. The State Health Department is campaigning on COVID-appropriate behavior and also doing intensive campaign on Mask Ke Kavacham. Mask alone is the armor. Meanwhile, 2,367 more COVID-19 positive cases have been recorded during the past 24 hours. 2,747 persons have recovered as per the Andhra Pradesh State COVID Nodal Officer, Vijayawada. A total of 8,40,730 COVID positive cases have been recorded so far in Andhra Pradesh, and 8,12,517 persons have recovered and 21,434 persons are under COVID treatment. 6,779 COVID deaths have been reported in Andhra Pradesh. Despite declining number of corona patients in Mumbai, Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray has appealed to people to be more vigilant and not to let the guard down in the coming few months in view of the second wave of COVID in the Western countries. The ambitious statewide health campaign of My Family, My Responsibility, which has brought encouraging results in containing COVID-19 cases in Maharashtra, is likely to be implemented again at the end of November. The state government is contemplating to implement phase 3 of this door-to-door campaign, which focuses on conducting health checkups and also categorize the comorbid patients. A report.
CM Thackeray asked the municipal officials to convince the people that if the pollution is not reduced, the corona crisis will continue. He said planning should be done keeping in mind that the jumbo centers that have been started for corona treatment in the last few months may be needed in the future. Stating that the state government is unlocking in a phased manner, he said it is necessary to control the crowds, especially in the next 15 days when Diwali festival is being celebrated. The Chief Minister also directed to test the vendors, bus drivers, etc. who are in constant touch with the people. Against the backdrop of corona, the Chief Minister decided to set up a 5,000-bedded hospital for the treatment of communicable diseases in Mumbai. Devapriya Bhattacharjee, AIR News, Mumbai.
Emphasizing on constant vigilance towards COVID-19, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath today said that effective measures should be continued to control the pandemic. He also directed the officials to provide better treatment facilities to corona patients by further strengthening the medical facilities in the district with lower recovery rates. More from our correspondent.
Presiding over a review meeting, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath said that a meeting should be convened regularly by the district magistrates and the chief medical officers at the COVID hospitals in the morning and at Integrated Command and Control Center in the evening. In this meeting, a review of the activities conducted to control the corona infection should be done and further strategy should be decided. Stressing on the need of a virology center in Lucknow, the Chief Minister said that it should be developed on the lines of National Virology Center, Pune. Chief Minister also directed officials that a convenient environment should be created for students to assist them in preparing for competitive examinations, and in this regard, arrangements for online coaching should be made for them. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
In Jammu and Kashmir, an unidentified terrorist was neutralized in Machil sector in North Kashmir's Kupwara district as the army foiled an infiltration bid along the line of control (LOC) on the night of November 7 and 8. Defense spokesperson said that the terrorists were trying to infiltrate, and in the exchange of fire, one terrorist was killed. An AK rifle and 2 bags were recovered from the site. Search operation in the area was underway till the reports came in last. Further details are awaited.
The final phase of polling for the Bihar Assembly elections took place yesterday. The first 2 phases of polling took place on October 28th and the 3rd of November. Voting for the first phase on the 28th of October covered 71 assembly constituencies, while the second phase voting on the 3rd of November covered 94 seats. The third phase of voting yesterday covered 78 assembly seats. By-polls for Valmiki Nagar Lok Sabha seat was also held yesterday. Talking to AIR News, Bihar Additional Chief Electoral Officer Balamurugan said counting of votes for all seats will take place on the 10th of November in a safe and transparent manner.
After completion of 3 phases of polls in Bihar, required arrangement has been done for the counting. As counting will start on 10th, right now, required, as per the provisions of Election Commission of India, required security arrangement has been done. CAPF is guarding strong rooms and 3-tier security is being provided. One more important arrangement from Election Commission of India is that every constituency is going to have counting observers. Most of them has arrived and under their supervision, under observation, the counting will begin on 10th. Every effort is being made to conduct the counting in a smooth and very transparent manner. Counting will begin at 8 and confident that by evening the results will come out.
In Assam, the tourism department is taking steps to increase domestic tourist inflows following the opening of parks and wildlife sanctuaries in the state. Participating in an AIR talk show, Tourism Secretary Razvi Hussain and Director Debakumar Mishra said that priority has been given to develop tourism infrastructures. Mr. Mishra said that 80% subsidy is being given for home stay facilities in and around tourism spots. He also said that under Assam Darshan, tourism infrastructure is being developed at potential areas in the state.
The South Western Railway, with headquarters in Hubballi in Karnataka, has found a novel way of utilizing redundant concrete sleepers. These old sleepers removed from railway tracks are now brought to use as pathways for the track maintenance staff. In a novel manner, 10,000 discarded sleepers were used to construct a 12-kilometer-long pathway in the Western Ghats. This has provided easy access to the tracks in a hilly terrain. Here is more from our correspondent.
The loco pilots use this path to check the train formations during halts, awaiting signals. During the movement of the trains, the keyman, night patrolmen can now move to safety of the pathway. This has also helped in providing platform for workers for loading and unloading rail sleepers during track renewal. In addition, another 2,500 sleepers are used for the construction of trolley platforms for keeping rail dolly, trucked out rails and new sleepers. The keyman uses the platform as a resting place after the completion of the beat. The scrap sleepers are also used for constructing side drains in tunnels to prevent track ballast from falling. The old sleepers are made use of effectively for fixing rail pegs. The South Western Railway General Manager A.K. Singh has said that scrap sleepers and rails were brought into good use through cost-effective and time-saving methodology. He appreciated the work executed on challenging terrain in tough weather at negligible cost by a team headed by Senior Divisional Engineer Neeraj Bapnas. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
The Railway Ministry has granted permission to the candidates of Combined Defence Services CDS examinations to travel by special suburban services over the Mumbai suburban train network. Valid identity cards of the candidates for this examination will be considered as authority for entry at the stations. Scores of candidates are appearing for CDS exams amidst the pandemic. They've been asked to wear protective face masks or face shields to the examination centers.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today met senior BJP leader Lal Krishna Advani at the latter's residence and greeted him on his 93rd birthday. Home Minister Amit Shah and BJP President JP Nadda were also present on the occasion. Earlier in a tweet, the Prime Minister prayed for Mr. Advani's long and healthy life. He said Mr. Advani played an important role in the development of the country. Home Minister Amit Shah said in a tweet that Mr. Advani not only contributed to the development of the country with his hard work and selfless service, but also played a major role in the expansion of the BJP's nationalist ideology. Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar also wished Mr. Advani on his birthday. In IPL cricket, Sunrisers Hyderabad will take on Delhi Capitals in the second qualifier match in Abu Dhabi today. The winner of the match will face Mumbai Indians in the final on Tuesday. In the Women's T20 Challenge Cricket Tournament, Supernovas defeated Trailblazers by 2 runs at Sharjah last evening. Supernova will take on Trailblazers again in the final, which will be played on Monday. Supernova has won both the earlier editions of the Women's T20 Challenge.
The air quality in Delhi worsened further today and is in the very poor category this afternoon. According to the Central Pollution Control Board, the city's air quality index was recorded at 396 at 12 noon. The air quality index was recorded at 407 at 6 this morning, and it was in the severe category. An air quality index between 201 and 300 is considered poor, 301 to 400 very poor, and 401 to 500 severe. The System of Air Quality and Weather Forecasting and Research, SAFAR, has forecast that the air quality will stay at the severe to the higher end of very poor category till tomorrow.
Pollutants continue to affect the quality of air in the national capital. A thick blanket of smog shrouded parts of the city today morning, leading to a decreased visibility. According to experts, a rising number of stubble burning cases in the neighboring states has been the primary factor behind the foul air in the city. Along with it, unfavorable meteorological conditions like calm winds and low temperatures has pushed the air quality to very poor and severe zone. According to Air Quality Early Warning System of Ministry of Earth Sciences, high farm fire counts approximately 4,900 were observed over Punjab yesterday, which is affecting air quality index over Delhi NCR and parts of northwest India. The air quality index is likely to be in upper end of very poor and severe category during Diwali. Anupam Mishra, AR News, Delhi.
Now let us take a look at the weather update for the day. The national capital will have shallow fog. The minimum temperature was recorded at 11.2 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 30 degrees. In Mumbai, the sky will be mainly clear. The lower level of temperature in the metropolis was 24.4 degrees Celsius and the upper level will be around 34 degrees Celsius. Chennai will have a partly cloudy sky with light rain. The temperature will hover between 30 and 32 degrees Celsius. Kolkata is expected to have a clear sky with temperatures varying between 19 and 30 degrees Celsius. In Jammu and Kashmir, Jammu and Srinagar cities will have a mainly clear sky, but there will be much variance in temperature in Srinagar as the minimum temperature was 0 degrees Celsius while the maximum could go up to 19 degrees Celsius. On the other hand, in Jammu, the lower level of temperature was 13 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 29 degrees. In Leh, the sky will be mainly clear. The minimum temperature was recorded at minus 11 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 10 degrees. Gilgit will also see a clear sky with temperature hovering between minus 1 and 23 degrees Celsius. In Muzaffarabad, the sky will be mainly clear and the temperature will move from 6 to 27 degrees Celsius. In Dehradun, the sky will be mainly clear and the temperature will hover between 11 and 27 degrees Celsius. Chandigarh will have a mainly clear sky with temperature oscillating between 11 and 29 degrees. In Hyderabad, the minimum temperature was 17 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 31. The city will have a partly cloudy sky with haze. Ahmedabad will see a clear sky. The minimum temperature was 17, while the maximum will be around 34. And Guwahati witnessed fog and mist in early morning. The minimum temperature in the city was 16. The maximum will be around 30 degrees.
The News Services Division of All India Radio brings you special discussion on COVID-19 every day in its bilingual live phone-in program. Senior physician Ram Manohar Lohia Hospital, Dr. A.K. Varshne, will participate in the discussion tonight from 9:30 p.m. onwards. This can be heard on the FM Gold channel and additional frequencies. Listeners can ask questions to the experts on toll-free telephone number 1800 115 767. You can also ask questions on telephone number 011-2331-4444.
And now, before we end, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Modi says Ro-Pax service between Hazira and Ghoga is the next generation transport for the people of Gujarat. Says government's aim is to make such ecosystem where movement of cargo is seamless. Prime Minister announces the change of name of Shipping Ministry to Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways. Joe Biden to be the next US President, and Kamala Harris becomes first woman in American history to be elected Vice President. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 92.49%. Air quality in Delhi NCR worsens and continues to remain in severe category. And in IPL cricket, Sunrisers Hyderabad and Delhi Capitals to clash in the second qualifier this evening. And with that, we end the midday news.